Say goodbye to ugly cords once and for all. Grab a small cardboard box out of your recycling bin. Cut off the top of your box along with one of the long sides so that you're left with a partial box that looks a bit like this. Now go find some pretty paper to cover your box with. I'm using this beautiful plaid wrapping paper that I had for my Christmas supply stash. Cut your paper or fabric down to a manageable size for wrapping your box, just like you would if you were wrapping a present. Now take your time wrapping your box. We want to keep everything nice and neat here. Now this part is totally optional, but it definitely takes your box up a notch by adding a little detail to the front of your box. This could be a variety of things. You can use a small handle, some little cabinet hardware, metal corners, or even add a book plate label. I went ahead and made a simple handle using some leftover leather that I found in my craft room. This is the perfect thing for disguising all of that cord clutter around your house. You can go ahead and tuck power strips inside, charging cords, modem cables, your internet router. Your box will blend right in with your decor. It keeps your cords contained, and it looks so much better than a tangled mess of cords on your shelf or on the floor. Simple, inexpensive, and honestly, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner.
Do you have an ugly spot in your home where all your routers live, and do you want to hide this eyesore? Well then, start by taking measurements of the space and then go out and find a basket that fits the dimensions. I found one that had wooden slats all around it with space in between. This kind of basket is perfect because you can easily slide your power cords through the slats of the basket. Once finished, we place the basket back where all of our ugly routers once lived. And now, instead of seeing them, you're seeing a pretty basket instead. I love this easy and simple hack for hiding your routers from plain sight.
I've got this old extension cord just sitting around and I don't like the look of it. First thing I'm going to do is take some cardboard outside and lay it down. And then I ordered off Amazon some ball pit balls. But the problem is, how do you paint them? They just float everywhere. I quote, borrowed some pins from my wife. And what I'm going to do is stick those up through the back of the cardboard. And I'm going to place the ball on top very carefully because they are sharp and push it down. I'm going to do this to every single one. Look how good that holds right there. So I'll take the next one, place the pin through the back, and again, put the ball right on top. I can keep going down each row and do this. You want to hold the back of the pin while you're doing this so that it doesn't push through. As you can see, I'm going to put out two different layers. One is going to be painted white and the other side black. Now, I did paint on a little bit on a windy day, but I got nice and close and I put little squirts of paint on. If you do too much paint, it's going to run, so you got to be very careful. You may have to do 2 coats. As you can see, there's going to be some gaps, but that's okay. I'll show you what we're going to do later. I'm going to do the white on one side and the black on the other. Again, making sure I just do little squirts so I don't get too much of some running. Once I get all of that in and it's painted and it looks good, it's time to flip them over. I may have got a little impatient and didn't wait for them to dry all the way. Got a little bit on my hand, but you just pull the balls off, hold the back of the pins with one hand, and push it on through. Once you get those all pulled over, we can go ahead and start painting the other sides. Now, again, just do little squirts and don't put too much. Once I get those covered, they're going to look really good. Again, like the black covered nice. And I'm going to pull that off, and then I can take the pen out and watch this. There we go. It's like I never borrowed it. And then what we can do is take an X-Acto knife or any kind of sharp knife, and we're going to put a little hole on one side. Now, it can be square, diamond shaped, not a big deal. Cut it through, and then you're going to go the exact opposite side and put the same size hole. This is what's going to go around our extension cord. You want to make sure it's just high enough and big enough to cover it. Then down the seam of the ball, which is the toughest part, we're going to go ahead and cut from one side to the other. Only on one side though. Once we get it all the way cut around and all the way through, then we can slide the cord on. So we're going to put it on right here, starting with one of the black balls, starting first, and watch this. We're going to push it together, and then what we can do is use some super glue to hold it in place. Once we hold it for about 10 to 15 seconds, it's good. We're going to alternate white to black all the way down. Just keep doing it and put hot glue on. Once I get that on, look at this. I'm going to plug it in. Oh, actually, it looks really good. It matches the decor of our house, but you can choose any colors you want, especially around Christmas. Can you imagine?
I have a light in my work area, and unfortunately the shade fell and broke. Looking through my supplies, I found this burlap covered metal ring that fits perfectly around the light fixture. To give the light fixture some depth, I've pulled out 12 beads from my pile, 2 in each size that I had. I want to create strands of beads that I can hang off the metal ring. So I'm going to thread the 12 beads from largest to smallest onto a thin piece of this jute twine. With all of the beads strung, it's time to add them to the metal ring. To hold each strand of beads in place, I'm wrapping the end of the twine around the ring, and then I'm just going to use a little dab of hot glue to keep it in place. I've already gone ahead and put several plugs and hooks into the ceiling around the light fixture, so now all I have to do is slip the ring up over the light and then secure it onto the hooks. I'm absolutely loving how unique this boho chic light looks now. It's the perfect solution for this particular light.
Pick up a couple of bins and these barnwood boards at Walmart. These boards are already prepped and ready to go. We just need to remove the twine from the back. Now I want to add a little detail to this. So I'm going to use just a paper number stencil, and I'm going to add a stencil number to the top of each board. To the bottom, I want to add a little knob. Now, if you're using thicker wood, you can absolutely drill a hole and use the screw that comes with these knobs. Since this is very thin wood, I'm just going to use some super glue to attach it. Now I want to place the board on the bin. The bin doesn't sit completely flat against the board, so I'm using some thick Gorilla mounting tape on the clear bin, and then I'm going to press the board on there really well. You can either set something heavy on top of this or use clamps to hold it in place for about 30 minutes until it cures. And I'm going to hide some craft supplies that don't really fit anywhere else. I have this beautiful clean look on the outside, and I can easily access everything I need when I pull these out. I hope this inspired you to grab some bins and use this creative way to hide some of your items.
Ever look around your home and think, wow, those outlets really bring down the vibe? So I decided to change that, and the solution came from inexpensive thrift store frames. First, I cut a thin piece of scrap wood to fit perfectly into the back opening of the more ornate frame. This was going to act as a solid base. Since smooth surfaces don't always hold glue well, I roughed up the wood with very coarse sandpaper to give the adhesive something to grip onto. On the back of the wood piece, I carefully measured for center and level so the plug covers would end up exactly where the real outlet would be. Next, I grabbed a few plug safety covers. Same deal, sanded them down so the epoxy would stick better. To keep them perfectly aligned, I used a spare outlet part I had removed from elsewhere as a guide while I epoxied the covers in place. When shopping for frames, do be sure to look for ones that are not real heavy. This one already had a sturdy backing, so after carefully removing the stand, I just used what was there. I roughed up the back with coarse sandpaper and roughed up the surface of the plastic plug covers and epoxied everything together. While that epoxy was curing, I printed out a photo of black and white marble I had taken a while ago, slid it behind the cleaned up glass, and when the epoxy was cured, reassembled the frame. Back upstairs in the kitchen, it was time to try out the new framed outlet covers. The end result? Instead of glaring at boring outlet covers, I now have artwork on my wall that happens to serve a purpose.